everybody, welcome back. This is part 2 of the building my own Dungeon Bowl set. Hopefully you'll have seen the first episode. If not, please look in the playlist, look at me painting the tiles. I've gone through a 3D printed version. This is part 2 when we move on to some additional pieces we need to play the game, namely the chests and tiles. So before we get going on the chests and tiles, an important update on the tiles from the first video. After some simple maths and a lot of discussion across a group of 3D printers, we confirmed the number of tiles you need to match the box set if you're printing 2x2s is 64 tiles. We had it at 58 the first time we did it, but we forgot the end zone, so thanks to all to help me work that through. So this episode is concentrating on the chests, which you need 6 of, and the teleporters, which you also need 6 of. The teleporters you're going to need numbered from 1 to 6, as you're going to roll a dice to hopefully appear on a teleporter. The chests you need 5 that will have a bomb in, and 1 that has a ball in. Some of the complaints about the chests in the box set have been that as one of those is a fixed ball chest, if you do make a slightly different way of painting it, you will always be able to know which chest the ball is in. So what I was looking for is a solution that allowed no competitive advantage, either by accident or by deliberate purposes, but mainly by accident. So again, in line with the first episode, we're going to go down the line of 3D printing these. I'm going to 3D print some teleporters, I'm going to 3D print some chests, and these chests have removable lids and a token inside which tells you what to find. So let's go and have a look at them a bit more and I'll tell you more about them. So what have we actually printed? We've printed the teleporters in some detail. Let's have a look at them. So firstly, this is the teleporter tile. It's exactly the same size as a Blood Bowl tile that we're going to be using, so it'll fill the square up nice and detailed. You can see the nice swirl there of a teleporter, so you can get some real depth to the painting and some detail there. I've seen some really nice versions of the swirl where people have done it with hot glue as well. A bit of careful swirling and leaving it cool. That looks really nice. As you can see, a bit of depth, so it's going to stick up off the board. You're going to be able to see that quite nicely. Now the big issue with this one is how do you tell which version of 1 to 6 it is? Well, this one actually isn't one of the 1 to 6 ones. This is a generic teleporter, and I'm going to use this to go in the dugouts as a entrance teleporter. I'm going to use these ones as a teleporter for the actual board, and you can see here the little pips that are on each of the sides. So this one's teleporter number 4, so you can see quite quickly and easily how you would tell which one that is, and you'll be able to see it even with a miniature is on. So the best and worst thing about Dungeon Bowl, depending on whether it's you or your opponent, is if you roll the same number of teleporter that you're standing on, your guy will disappear into the ether forever and a day. So in this case, if you roll a 4, goodbye. So the chests, really important for the game. So these are the chests, and again they're available off a Thingiverse file. Guy made these, they've made the same teleporter file. It's really easy to print out. As you can see, they actually come with a base pre-printed on it. It's nice and solid, nice and easy. It's a 3-part print. Got the base and the bottom of the chest, the lid, and then there's a token inside. So you can see really nice detail. You're going to be able to paint these quite nicely. Now the issue that people have had is that the fact that if you paint them slightly differently, you can tell which one the ball's in. Well, the advantage of this print is if you take the lid off, actually this is the ball token. Now that is actually a token itself. So you could paint that so you can tell it's the ball. You could even turn it over and put it in, and no one's actually going to know what's inside, because that is the bomb one. Now you can see that reasonably clear when you're pretty close, but I think what I'll do is paint the bomb ones as a nice explosion and the ball as the old brown. But as you can see, once you've got the lids on, you're not going to be able to tell those apart in any way at all. I think that's the best thing about this print. So that's our chests and teleporters printed. and the tiles that we need confirmed. So we need one more major thing for the game, and that's the unique bit about Dungeon Bowl, and that's the doors that go between the various walls and corridors that you set up. Now these are quite important because they are going to really be those funnel points for the large rooms, so you need a way of visually showing those. In the board game there's a little piece of card that you put on top of the two tiles to indicate where the door goes. I think as with 3D printing we can go better. I think there's a couple of options we can go down other than the card on top, and that's actually to have a filler tile, like a spacer tile that's clearly marked as the door, or to actually have a door itself. Let me show you those options now. So looking at the two different options that I think we've got the option of a spacer between the tiles, which is another open lock tile. Came in the same set that the tiles themselves come in, so matches really nicely with the stone wall. As you can see, it's flat on one side but it's got the open lock on the other. Or the second is a actual door frame, and again this is from the same set, so these are all free. Link will be in the description below. And again these have been scaled up in the X and Y and the 136%. So this one's obviously very much a door. It's really obvious, it's quite detailed. The thing that strikes me about this is the door frames are quite wide, so remembering that you can throw a ball in detail. The other thing that concerns me is that there is space on top, so you probably have to print something to go over the top. And anything that's raised above the board, the ability to knock it is going to be increased. I quite like the symbol little ones. They're very much like the board box. You can clearly paint them as differently to identify the door. One thing that will definitely have to be done is to look at how many we'll need to print these, because depending on the board orientation and the number of tiles, you might need some extra ones just to fill some space out. So therefore we might have to paint some up as corridor spaces just to make the board level out and be detailed. So that's the two options I think for doors that we could 3D print. I personally think I prefer the smaller option, not just because it'll print quicker, but also there's less to knock on the board and it's similar to the board set itself. And I think we can make them look really different, but I'd really welcome your comments below. Please stick a comment below if there's a preference of that. So they'll probably be the next thing we crack on and do. And then the stage after that, we're going to start looking at assembling the tiles, and also how we're going to store and transport our box, as we're going to want to take that to game nights, we're going to want to take that to a tournament, and the last thing we're going to want to do is drop the tiles and have bits of 3D printed plastic splitting all over the place. So I'm going to work up an option for that, and that might have to be a build option rather than a print option. But thanks for watching the video, guys. Like and subscribe below, comment on anything you'd like to see me do further with the set as we go, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Happy printing, good playing, all the best.